Hello, I'm Superintendent Joel Dvorak, and school safety has obviously been a concern of ours for a long time, but that concern has been heightened through all the tragedies that have happened in the country. We have asked you for some feedback, and we sure appreciate our schools, our community, asking questions and giving us some feedback. Today, we're going to try to answer some of those questions, give you some information so that you can be a partner with us in keeping all kids safe. So I'd like to start with our first question. And the first question is, what are you doing to keep schools safe? Well, we continue to do a lot of things, and because of the tragedies, we've upped the ante on several of those factors. We have very strict protocols and have practice every month, safety procedures in all of our schools. We practice all our lockdown processes. We work very closely with the Casper PD. We have school resource officers. We work through all access points. And probably the biggest factor that keeps schools safe is for us to make sure that kids, students, your kids, and our teachers and staff communicate, have great relationships so that if anything is out there that could cause a safety concern for anyone in our school, that communication and that relationship is there so that adults know and we can either prevent or react very quickly to make sure that everyone's safe. One additional piece that the school district has done just recently to increase school safety is we've hired Jeff Hauk. He's our risk manager. Jeff has a great background in security. He is now coordinating our efforts around school security and safety. And Jeff has been a great addition to us. You will hear from him during this video. And Jeff is a great asset for us and has really raised our capacity to very systematically manage our risk as well as systematically make sure that all our processes are in place that really provide a greater security around all of our schools. So we're really glad that Jeff's with us, and we know that his impact will be very great in school safety.
What we're doing to keep the schools safe, from a risk management perspective, it's doing a complete comprehensive assessment of where we're at as far as current as-is state with our schools, the school district as a whole. Everything from the safety and security of the schools to access control, CCTV, all the different systems that are a part of our program. And then really looking at taking best practices and how we can apply those and implement different programs or revise the current plans we have in place, policies and procedures, to do a better job of really bringing a 21st century comprehensive protective program to our schools. I know another part of the district's plan is in the hiring of myself as the new risk manager for the district. My background is from in corporate security, executive protection and emergency management, and bringing those key components to the school district, to the public sector, as far as adding the best practices, being a certified protection professional, having that background, as well as the emergency management, risk management components, I think are going to play a big part in helping us put together a real comprehensive program.
All right, our second question is, who do I contact after hours for a bus-related issue? Let's say that your child was supposed to be home at 5 and it's 5:05 and you're worried and you want to know who to call. You would call our transportation department. The number there is 253-5283. We always have someone there, and they have radios, and they can contact the particular bus that your child is on, and they can give you a quick answer to make sure that we all know your child is safe. And question 3, is there a plan in place for students who have to wait for a bus for an extended amount of time in cold temperatures? Well, the best plan in that scenario, there's a couple of things. Number one, if it's cold, obviously we want to make sure that kids are dressed warmly. And many times if a child isn't, we have some things in school that we could help kids stay warm. The other issue is that many times if the temperatures are extreme, we will let children stay, in the building or in a place out of the wind so that they can stay as warm as possible. But the best thing in cold weather, if you're sending your child to school, is make sure they're dressed warmly. So question number 4 is, why is there not protective glass at the front counters at some of our schools? Well, that kind of lends me to, even you can talk a little bit about the legislation that's currently working its way through our legislature. Representative Harshman and several legislators have put a bill on school safety forward in the legislature this year. They're looking at adding a piece to the funding model for schools around safety, both facilities and resources. That bill is working its way through the legislature as we speak, and it includes things like an assessment of facilities around the state of Wyoming. Are they safe? Should there be capital resources towards those facilities to increase their safety? And should there be a human resource, like a resource officer allotment of cash, so that we could raise the presence there? So when I look at it from a statewide level, I think that is working its way through the legislature. That could, through that assessment of all of our schools, there could be some action to increase just the physical safety around entrances. Another factor around facility safety would be that we're reconstructing all of our high schools, and part of the criteria for those is making sure that they're secure and safe. And so as we build a new Kelly Walsh, a new NC, a new Roosevelt, a CAP Center, all of our new schools are built with safety in mind, controlled access, and our new schools will be much safer than our old ones.
I know we've been asked the question about protective glass or bulletproof glass, bullet-resistant glass, a lot in the wake of a lot of the school tragedies that have gone on. That is just one tool or one component of a system or a program, and we're really looking to try to strike a balance between implementing of the newest, latest and greatest technology, along with also being able to maintain the openness of our business operations, and really what we're here to, the people we're here to serve, the students, the parents, and so forth. So really trying to strike the balance between a secure or protective environment, and also being open to just your typical business operational activity.
Question number 5, can there be more officers posted at schools? Many people don't know that we currently have 2 full-time school resource officers, one on the east side of town, one on the west side of town. Both those officers they're police officers. They're fully armed. They work in partnership with the Casper PD and the school district. They are very, very helpful in us as both a preventative and a reactive force in case something happens. Our relationship with Casper PD is very strong. Can we get more? I believe that, again, that's part of that legislation that is working its way through. There is a resource issue around that, but certainly if we would love to be able to have even a greater presence of school resource officers in our schools, because we think they're a very good deterrent, and also as they build relationship with kids and staff, they become even a greater preventative thing against any violence.
And I know that is one piece of legislature that's currently being looked at, as far as offering opportunities to bring on that resource, and that is a city resource that we would partner with the Casper Police Department in providing to the schools. It would be their employees, their personnel. They would provide those individuals with the proper training as part of our program. So we're hoping that that piece of legislation goes through, because I think that is probably one of the key components, or could play the biggest part in solidifying our foundation for a protective program moving forward, is providing those trained professionals for the protection of our schools.
Question number 6 is, can there be an armed guard at each school? that too is working its way through the legislature. There's lots of issues around that. An armed guard, from a resource perspective, is very challenging. We have very, very small rural schools, and an armed guard seems to be a challenge, because that's like having a teacher, an extra teacher. And we have 30-some schools. That's 30 additional teachers. You take that's $2 million worth of resource each year that would cost to do that. That's $2 million that doesn't go towards teaching and learning, towards books, towards facilities, or whatever kids need in their teaching and learning environment. So there has to be a balance there. I think at every school might be a bit of a challenge, and probably not necessary from a balanced perspective. So it would be possible, but there would be many things that your child wouldn't have if we had an armed guard at every school.
Guards has also been brought up. As far as that goes, I really think we want to really look at what we're talking about when we're talking about armed personnel in our schools. There's a definite liability component. We really should be looking at the highly skilled or highly trained law enforcement or security professionals to provide that service, to look at going out and contracting that service, or having some type of armed guards or armed personnel in our schools. I really don't think that's the way we want to go.
Number 7, do you see a possibility of school employees being allowed to carry guns? Actually, a House bill has gone through the House and is going to the Senate, where anyone with a carry permit could have guns on their person in schools, at sporting events, and that, I believe, is fraught with many issues that I'm not sure actually increase the safety of our students. So right now the law is that schools are gun-free zones, and until that law is changed, there's no possibility of employees being allowed to carry guns.
A lot of talk around the employees being able to carry their weapons, which I think presents a variety of different challenges. As far as the risk and liability for the school district, how are these individuals trained, being able to vet their backgrounds and skills, and what type of weapons each of them might bring to the table. I think it also presents some challenges as far as the law enforcement goes, and law enforcement response to a school incident. Being able to know who is the good guys and who are the bad guys with everyone, having that capability of carrying weapons in the schools. So while I don't approve, or I really would shy away from wanting armed personnel unless they are trained professionals.
Why are the front doors at every school unlocked? We have not, some schools have buzz-in systems where the door is locked, they have to buzz into the school, and they have to provide some kind of identity, or they have to be recognized before they're let in. We have not moved to that level, especially with our old schools. We have the cost of that is one issue, and the other one is how much inconvenience can the public manage. I think that the tolerance for inconvenience, because of all the safety issues nationally with schools, I think the public's tolerance level is going to go up. Not unlike what is done with airports. As you fly and travel, you take your shoes off, you take your belt off, you get wanded, you may get patted down. 15 years ago, we wouldn't have tolerated that. Schools have always been places where community has that access. They're a center of the community. And I think the tolerance of you and all of us in society for inconvenience around getting into schools is going to increase. So buzz-in systems may be something we do in the future.
Front doors at every school are unlocked. It's basically been the culture of schools. they've always been open and inviting, and access for the general public. Public schools being public entities, having access for or whether it's business related or personal related visitors coming into the schools. That is a culture that we really want to take a look at and see about offering some further education, training, and awareness as far as doing a better job of access management or visitor management. So those key components would be really looking at our access program and how we can do a better job of protecting the school environment. The other challenge is that the design of many of the old schools never took into account the need for security or safety. It's just the way they were built. It's the way that the operational activities took place. So there are some challenges with those older schools.
Would installing intercom systems and surveillance cameras at all entrances be feasible? It is feasible, and surveillance cameras, for example, part of our new school construction, there is money for us to put cameras on the exterior of our buildings, parking lots, front entrances, those type of things. And we have those systems at many of our schools, almost all of our schools now. The challenge for us is to get surveillance cameras on the inside of buildings, because those aren't paid for as we through major maintenance or through state monies for building new schools. We believe that would be a very good thing. Internal cameras to keep an eye on hallways and those type of things, I think would be a great safety issue, and we would support legislation to make that happen.
As far as the PA systems and TV systems, and for that matter other equipment and systems that can be utilized as for security and safety, each one of those are being looked at individually on a case-by-case basis to see which one or which ones will be most effective and efficient, especially in the short term in providing safety and security for our schools, but also in the longer term looking at newer technologies and how they can mesh together to form a real solid, comprehensive protective program. The PA systems are going to be a key component in the way of communication for our schools internally. We're really looking to standardize these pieces of equipment and tools to make sure that we know that they're going to work, and they're going to work in the way we need them to work internally. The CCTV systems, well, they are a good deterrent and a key piece of equipment to be utilized. We really need to look at the way that they're being utilized as well. Unless they are being monitored on a 24/7 basis, they're really an after-the-fact or investigative tool to be utilized. So while they serve as a great investigative tool currently, we'd really like to see about maximizing their use and potential. Not just using them as an investigative tool, but also using them on the proactive side of things and being able to monitor activities and hopefully be able to see the red flags before the actual incident occurs.
Question number 10 is, what happens during a lockdown? Well, first I'd like to just say that there are several levels of lockdown. We work in partnership with the Casper PD and analyze what the threat is, make a decision as to lock down all schools, some schools, and then that is communicated to the school, and then it's of course communicated through you, through all the social media and our calling system, so that you're aware that schools have been locked down. Lockdowns vary. They can be, we just lock all the exterior doors, a low-level lockdown. One that's a little more intense would be we restrict any access in and out. We put all kids in their rooms. We account for every child, and we basically lock down the whole school and lock all the doors for the classrooms, get kids off in a corner and pull the shades, and that's a very high-level lockdown. We have lockdowns where we may lock down the school and it's just all the outdoor doors are locked, but staff with a key or a fob can come and go lunch can be delivered, those type of things. And it really depends on the level of the threat, and we analyze and work on that with Casper PD. So we use all our media. We try to get out as much information as we can to you as quickly as you can so you can be informed. We practice all of these lockdown drills, and we review them on a regular basis. You know, schools, it used to be fire drills. Fire drills were kind of the key. We did a fire drill. We marched kids outside every month because we thought there would be a fire. Well, the number of fires that have been in schools in this country is so small that the threat is almost non-existent. And so the new threat has been obviously evolving. And so our lockdown drills and our safety drills, those things happen on a regular basis. Like when you were in school, you used to have fire drills, or if you're old enough, you had earthquake drills. Even during the Cold War, we had those nuclear drills where you got underneath our desk and those type of things. So safety's always been there with schools, and it's evolving now. And we are practicing those things with our kids so that they know what to do. They don't panic. Staff knows what to do, and we're very efficient at getting kids as safe as possible when we know there's a threat.
So as far as the lockdown process for schools, the reason for locking down a school is for the safety and security of not just the staff, but especially the students, making sure everybody's safe and secure, protected as best we can. So during these lockdowns, I know a lot of questions that come up are access to your kids. And the one thing that I'd like to get across is that the importance of knowing that your child is probably in the safest environment they can be in during that lockdown process. And so not to inundate the school with phone calls or requests to take your children. By opening up those access points, opening up the doors to allow your child to go, really creates a gap in that protective system that we need to maintain for the school safety. So also as part of the lockdown that have occurred in the past, one of the things that I'm doing as the new risk manager is really taking a look at how those work, and really doing a comprehensive review of the alert system and lockdown system, and being able to then implement some changes as far as making them a little bit more standardized across all our schools. So what one school's doing, another's doing. So if you have children at a number of different schools, they should all be working the same way. The other component to the lockdown review is coming up with a way to communicate that, and a way to communicate information both internally and externally, so that you as parents will know what is going on, the information, what to expect, and then working hand in hand to educate and make people more aware of what those expectations are when a school is in whatever lockdown situation they may be in.
Now, question 11, how often do lockdown drills take place? Now, we have safety drills that are required every month, and so we record those, and there's lots of practice. We also work with Casper PD, and we have periodically, every year or two, active shooter drills where during the summer, sometime we will actually use a school. We will have a scenario where there is an active shooter in a school, and Casper PD will go through that scenario, work through the buildings, and so we have very specific drills we do, as well as all the lockdown practice every month.
We're doing those. Those are conducted. There's a drill done at least minimum once a month for every school, and at least 5 of those per year are a lockdown drill, and those are also coupled with your fire evacuation drills and so forth. The need for doing those is to prepare not only the teachers and administrators for doing that, but also to prepare the kids so that they know what to expect They know what their role is as far as the evacuation or the lockdown drills, whatever it may be, what they need to be doing.
Question 12, what is being done to address safety and security when constructing new school buildings? Safety and security is one of the criteria we have to meet. Obviously, it's mostly around access, cameras, those type of things. There are criteria within the School Facilities Commission that we meet, and we would like to raise those even more and make sure we get cameras on the inside. But access and security are critical components of any new school construction.
One of the things that we're looking to do with the newer schools is have some security, law enforcement expertise on the front end of the design process for the new schools, and being able to utilize those experiences that maybe haven't been utilized before, and doing a better job of designing and finding a common ground or a mesh of openness with the ability to secure, and the ability to know who's coming and going in the facility itself. So there are, you know, a variety of different tools that would be utilized in the future to do so. And this kind of goes back into that comprehensive assessment that we'll be doing of all the schools, and finding a way to best address those unique access or egress points.
Question 13, what is being done to ensure safety at school district-sponsored extracurricular activities? You know, that's a very emotional time for lots of folks when they come to a Kelly NC basketball game or football game. You get, you know, we have 5,000 people that show up for a football game with in the Oil Bowl. And so if you'll notice when you're there, there's an awful high presence of uniformed police officers. You'll see administrators, campus supervisors, always in places of access and moving around. We, I think, do a really nice job of coordinating with Casper PD and obviously with all of our administration to have a high presence at all of our activities. And anytime you get people coming together in large groups, you want to make sure people stay as safe as possible. It isn't like going to Mile High Stadium or the Pepsi Center where, you know, they'll check your purses and do those things. But we have a very high presence, and most of the issues we've had around those have been maybe a fight might break out or someone gets rowdy and out of control. We haven't had, thank goodness, any issue around safety that would be considered violence. And so we continue to be diligent and have lots of folks there to just make sure that there's crowd control and that everyone has a great experience.
Another area that we're looking at is extracurricular activities, athletic events, and so forth. And one of the things the school district wants to do is to partner with the Casper Police Department and local law enforcement in being able to do a better job of making sure that those events are just as safe and secure as every school day. So we will be working hand in hand with them to review what we're currently doing as far as standard operating procedures, but also see what we can do better, working together to make those events more safe and secure for all.
So our last question is, what's the parents' role in school safety? Well, I think it's absolutely critical. Some of our issues that we're concerned about actually come from students. Some of those issues come from people who have left the school or aren't connected to the school. But many of the things that I deal with are student related. You know, a student's being bullied, or a student is being ostracized, or a student is behaving in a way that may cause harm to himself or to others. And so your role as a parent to stay connected to your son or daughter, to their friends, to have that communication and that relationship where if you have any concerns, you can let people know there's lots of help out there for, be it counseling or school counseling or other counseling services. School folks can help out. I think it's just really that partnership between parents and the school and the child that is the most critical in school safety. And the other one that's really a big thing is is if your kids like someone at school, an adult that they have a great relationship with, and they will tell them things that are bothering them, or if they're being bullied, or if there are any issues that they think might impact their safety or someone else's, that they share that's probably the number one thing that you can do as a parent, is stay connected to your child. Watch their behaviors. If you see changes that make you nervous, are they being isolated? Are they depressed? Any of those type of things. Those are red flags. And if you can stay connected, and if you can relate that to an adult, get the help that you may need as a family, I think that's a great thing. It's only through our partnership with the community, with the parents, with the school, with the police force, all of us working together, that we can really truly keep kids as safe as possible in our schools.
And probably the most important point is, what can parents do? And what are their responsibilities as far as security and safety goes in the schools? And I think that's probably the most important question to ask. And safety and security is everybody's responsibility. It's the administrators, it's the teachers, it's the students, but it's also the parents' responsibility to know what those expectations are as far as the emergency and crisis management planning goes. To also know what to expect during those events, but also what you can do to make sure that you're active in your child's school life, knowing their friends, knowing who they're hanging out with, knowing what they're doing, and also partnering with the school, and so it's not just a one-way communication from the school to you, but you back to the school on those issues that come up, the information that you might gather, not thinking that everything is small, by no means. You could have the missing piece to the puzzle, so that we can do a better job at protecting your kids.
Well, in closing, I would just like to say that safety is always and always has been a great concern of ours, and we are proud of the fact that we keep kids very, very safe in our schools. We want to thank you for giving us these questions and giving us this opportunity to answer some of these questions. If you have other questions, please, you can call my office at 253-5222. We have our website, we have our Facebook page. There are lots of opportunities to connect, and we monitor those things on a daily basis, so we'll get back to you on any communications that you have. So again, we just want to thank you and want to continue to work with you to make sure all our kids stay safe.